This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the SeeThruEquity MicroCap Investor Conference, New York City, 2014. I have with me Roger Slotkin, HydroPhi Technologies Group, Inc. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is HPTG. Welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you so much for having me here today. We really appreciate it.
It's good to have you. Let's go. Tell us about HydroPhi.
HydroPhi has a unique water-based technology that is directed at fuel efficiency and emissions improvements in buses and trucks and heavy vehicles around the world. Our target market is those vehicles that are considered the most fuel inefficient, the biggest polluter in the cities that have the biggest air mitigation problems and higher fuel costs. Our ability is to take distilled water, put it on board a truck in our device, which is called the HydroPlant, break the water into its constituent components of hydrogen and oxygen, add them to the combustion process. The result? Improvements in fuel efficiency between 10 and 30%, emissions reductions up to 60% and more, obviously reductions in operating costs, and in a lot of cities, because the requirements are to take older trucks off the road, we keep those assets moving. So it's a triple hit for the fleet operator.
So you're a product manufacturing company, obviously, because you have to manufacture this device.
Correct.
Is this device a retrofit, and is it also possible to come equipped on a new vehicle?
Great question. It is absolutely designed as a bolt-on retrofit. Since our market addresses older buses and trucks, there's two reasons for that. They're already the polluters and the ones that are fuel inefficient. Today, what we consider in America new buses and trucks, and same in Europe, are relatively clean and efficient. Not necessarily fuel-wise, but we wouldn't offer them as much of a profile improvement. So with 90% of the fleet in the world being old and polluting and fuel inefficient, it's a better market for us and a more proliferated market around the world.
Well, not only that, I mean, the environmentalists, the governments, there's pressure to reduce pollution in the modern world, and now it's starting to happen in the emerging growth countries.
I just got back from a trip last week in Mexico City.
The worst.
It's
one
in
of the
top
worst.
three. Beijing,
I mean, I'm
Mexico
talking
City.
about pollution.
Well, they have approximately 10,000 route buses in the city, tens of thousands of trucks. They are the oldest, most polluting trucks, and they passed recent legislation that if you don't get your bus off the road and replace it, you'll be penalized. We are now, as a result of the studies by the University of Atmospheric Studies in Mexico City, able to take those buses, reduce their particulate matter and emissions, lower the new buses, and keep them on the road. That's world-changing in all major congested cities.
I have to ask this question because it's important. How much does it really cost per bus? I mean, it has to be a number that's reasonable, especially if you're going into, emerging countries.
That's the key question to any business proposition, ROI, return on investment. When we designed a unit, our target was to have a return on investment generally in less than 2 years. In places like Eastern Europe, where we're doing trials in Poland now, the ROI will be probably less than a year. The typical installed price can range between $14,000 and $17,000 US. So if a truck or a bus is doing 100,000 miles a year, paying between $5 and $7 for gas, it's pretty easy to understand at 15–18% where it comes in. But now the pressure's bigger. In Mexico City, for example, and throughout Europe, if you don't take that dirty bus off the road, you can't run that bus. We're keeping a logistic on the road, so they're not even cognizant or caring about fuel efficiency. So it's a triple bonus for these people.
Also, they have to do routine maintenance anyway. So if their bus is required to go into the shop, this is the point in time where the bus is scheduled to come in. It's the perfect time to retrofit your device.
True. Actually, the device is so well designed by our team of engineers. The installation is less than 2 hours. There's minimal maintenance. And another thing happens as a result of all the things we talked about. The buses and trucks run cleaner, which means their oil can last up to twice as long, so they have less frequent maintenance stops. So that adds to the value proposition as well.
And how does the horsepower change in any way? How does the efficiency in the running of the vehicle change in any way?
Well, if you take it from the horse's mouth, the truck drivers and the bus drivers, it's peppier, it's got more energy because hydrogen catalyzes the fuel better, so it burns more efficiently and you get more engine. So the pickups are for everybody on the positive side. There's really no negatives at all.
And it's internationally patented, of course?
Yes, we have patents applied for both and approved, both in the United States and Europe. We're now entering into negotiations for trials in China.
Is that the big elephant?
It's the big, difficult elephant. But if you look at sheer numbers, in Mexico, as a country alone, we'd have enough business to keep us busy for a couple years. Eastern Europe and Poland alone, which is our launch country, we estimated over 5 years about $250 million in business potential in that one country. So China is huge, of course, but it's also fraught with complications, difficulty, the typical paradigm issues that one has doing business in China.
What's your background?
I'm a businessman that's from New York, Long Island. I've been doing corporate turnaround work now for about 40 years. Love technology. I love fixing broken wheels and making them work and creating something for investors, the environment, and I've been into green and clean for about the last 15, 20 years.
So, for our investor audience, what's your website?
Our website is www.hydrophi.com. It's filled with information, both from an investment standpoint, operational standpoint, and technical standpoint, and it's pretty easy reading.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Slotkin, HydroPhi Technologies Group, Inc. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is HPTG. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive. We're at the SeeThruEquity MicroCap Investor Conference, New York City, 2014. Roger, welcome, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Shelley, so much.
Good to have you.